Hello, welcome back again. Now, in this section, we will try to understand the various key components of the electric vehicles and the various functions performed by them. Firstly, depending upon the category of the electric vehicle, either it is a low voltage electric vehicle or a high voltage electric vehicle, the number of components and their architecture will differ. An electric vehicle with working voltage greater than 60 voltage DC and or greater than 30 voltage AC will fall under the high voltage category. And any voltage below this category, for example, 48 volt, 24 volt, 12 volt, all these things will be considered as a low voltage electric vehicle. In this section, in order to include all the possible electric vehicle components, I am considering a high voltage electric vehicle. So when we consider a high voltage electric vehicle, these are the key components of the electric vehicle. Number one is the electric motor. Number two, high voltage battery. Number three, high voltage distributor. And number four, the power electronics components. For example, components like inverter and the DC-DC converter all fall under this classification. And number five, we have the high voltage compressor. And number six, we have the quick charge unit. Number seven, we have the onboard charger, or call it as a AC-DC converter. And number eight, we have the PTC heater, that is the positive coefficient heater. And number nine, we have the DC-DC converter. Let's understand each one of them. So basically, all these components come under the high voltage component classification in a high voltage electric vehicle. I'm just repeating the condition again. Any electric or hybrid vehicle component having a working voltage greater than 60 voltage DC and less than or equal to 1500 volt DC, or greater than 30 volt AC and less than or equal to 1000 volt AC will fall under high voltage. So any voltage below will be considered as low voltage. When we say high voltage, we generally think, some tens of thousands of voltage like 20,000, 50,000 voltage. But no, in automotive perspective, it is different. Let's start with the E-axle. This is called the propulsion unit, and there are many names for this as well. It is shortly called as the E-axle, as it has all the components starting from the motor to the final drive axle in a single integrated assembly like this. It is called as an E-axle throughout the industry. The major components of an E-axle are the traction electric motor, the power electronics inverter for the motor control, the transmission gears, and the differential gear. So all these things make the E-axle. The traction electric motor could be an induction motor, it could be a permanent magnet synchronous motor, or it could be a brushless DC motor, or a switched reluctance motor, or a synchronous reluctance motor, etc. These are the most widely used ones for the electric and hybrid vehicle applications. In addition to that, in an E-axle, we also have special bearings, parking lock systems like the conventional vehicles, and we also have the cooling jacket provision if it is a liquid cooled E-axle system, and a temperature sensor for measurement of the temperature of the drive motor. And sometimes we also and most it is also very important that the E-axles use a sensor called resolver for sensing the rotor position of the electric motor. All these components make up an E-axle of an electric vehicle. And this is how the electric propulsion unit will look like. We will discuss in detail about the motor and controller in the later part of this course. Now, the motors usually used in the electric vehicles need a three-phase AC input. A three-phase AC input current and voltage is needed to operate this motor. So we need an inverter assembly in order to perform this job. So this is an example of an inverter circuit which I have taken from Toyota Prius. When we were discussing about the power split hybrid of the Toyota Prius in the previous sections, have you noticed how many drive motors were there? If you can remember our discussion, can you tell how many drive motors were there? 1, 2, 3. Yes, they had two PMSM traction motors. They had two PMSM traction motors. You can see that because of the two motors here, we have two pairs of switching devices, one for each drive motor. So these are the switching devices like the IGBT, insulated gate bipolar transistors, or it could be MOSFETs, metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistors. All these semi switching devices are used to operate the electric motor. In addition to the inverter pair, we also have a boost converter. So can we guess what is it for? Remember, this example is from a hybrid vehicle called hybrid vehicle named Toyota Prius. So when we look at hybrid vehicles, they have number of, they have a smaller battery capacity compared with electric vehicle. What is the reason? In hybrid vehicles, the battery packs are smaller in size and also smaller in capacity because we use an internal combustion engine in addition to the electric motor. Since there is an internal combustion engine in the hybrid vehicle, it is not completely dependent on the electric motor for the operation, right? So because of that, part of the propulsion will be carried out by the IC engine, and part of the propulsion will be supported with the electric motor also. So because of this, the hybrid electric vehicles do not need a very big size of battery capacity, battery pack, like an electric vehicle, like a pure electric vehicle, right? So these boost converters are generally placed between the high voltage battery and the motor inverter system. So basically what happens is when we accelerate a high voltage hybrid electric vehicle, the boost converters support for boosting the voltage to the inverter during the accelerating conditions. For example, let's consider we have a battery pack with voltage of 200 voltage DC. And imagine for achieving the acceleration target of 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3 seconds, we need a propulsion voltage of close to 400 voltage for the electric motor. So instead of selecting a 400 voltage DC battery, we can support a 200 volt battery with a boost converter to provide output of 400 volt DC output for a short period of time for a better acceleration performance. Thus, without increasing the battery pack's voltage and the capacity, it is possible to extend the acceleration behavior of the hybrid electric vehicle using the boost converter with inverter topology. And in addition to this, we also have the DC-DC converter assembly integrated with the inverter. These DC-DC converters are used to charge the low voltage 12 volt battery of the electric vehicle. Yes, in addition to the high voltage battery, electric vehicles also still have the low voltage battery similar to the ones used in the petrol diesel vehicle. It is the power source for all the control electronics of the electric vehicle. So in addition to the high voltage electric vehicle, remember there is also a low voltage called a 12 volt battery is also there. Look at this picture. This is an example of a real inverter assembly. This is from the Toyota Prius hybrid electric vehicle. We can clearly identify the components like the smoothing capacitor, reactor, and that is the inductor and the control circuit board and the metal enclosure are generally made up of special aluminum materials for lightweighting. In addition to this, the inverter systems are also generally fitted with current and temperature sensors. You can see this current sensor mounted for measuring the current flow of the three-phase area. So these sensors are used for monitoring the three-phase currents and the temperature of the power modules like the IGBT or the MOSFETs. So then according to the power output and the operating temperature of the inverter, there shall be they shall be designed with a cooling jacket around the stator component, and as the inverter might carry huge currents when the motor is needed to operate at high performance, cooling system for the inverter and the motor becomes highly important. This becomes very crucial when these vehicles are coming under the high voltage category. And we will discuss about the motor and the inverter technology in detail in the next upcoming sessions of the course. This is also an example of a real inverter. So this example I have taken from Audi e-tron, and this inverter was developed in support from Bosch. What is the specialty of this particular inverter component is that this inverter uses an IP rating of IP6K 9K, which is the one of the highest waterproofing of any electrical electronic component. And you can also see the similar components, the smoothing capacitor, the control circuit board, the phase current sensors for measuring the three-phase current values, and we have the power module IGBTs. So all these are the similar components. So whenever we take an electric vehicle or a hybrid vehicle inverter, most of the components are similar. Then next to the e-drive components and the power electronic components, another very important component of the electric and hybrid vehicles is the battery pack. So these are the battery cells. These three construction types of battery cells are widely used in the electric vehicle and hybrid vehicle application. One is the cylindrical cell or prismatic cell, or this one is the pouch type. And this is called a battery module. These modules generally look like a sliced bread. Each battery module will contain a number of battery cells like this, connected in series and parallel. It can be cylindrical, prismatic, pouch, but all these cells could be arranged in this fashion, connected in a series parallel combination. Depending on the performance and many other requirements of the electric vehicle, the number of cells and the number of modules are decided accordingly. So these connections of the cells are basically done with copper bus bars like this. So these arrangements of the battery cells are need to be carried out very safely with precautionary measures, as they are safety critical components of the electric vehicle. Complete safety measures should be taken when during the assembly of these components. Then the battery modules are connected together to build a complete battery pack like this. So these battery packs are generally fitted with enclosures. You can see the enclosure, and these enclosures are mainly for the providing the environmental protection like dust protection and water protection. At the same time, one of the main primary function of this enclosure is to safeguard these battery packs from any sort of external damage. For example, these enclosures prevent the battery pack from any accident or any foreign stone or any particles hitting the battery modules. All these things, at the same time, it is also safeguarding the cooling system or the coolant loop which is running inside this battery pack enclosure. I believe people can understand this. And one of the most important component of the battery pack is the battery management system. So this is a microcontroller unit which completely takes care of all the operations of the battery pack, and it assures the safe and best performance of the battery by monitoring all the inputs and outputs of the battery pack. And this battery management system also does so many other functions. We will discuss those functions in detail in the third section of this course. So I believe this part has given you an overview of how a battery pack looks like. So we will discuss the battery components and the design aspects in detail in the section 3 of this course. All the motors, battery, or the power electronic components may operate at high or low temperatures, right? So both cold temperature or hot temperature, both of them could degrade the operational performance and the lifetime of the components. So it becomes highly important, to manage the temperature of these components in a safe range. So we need to have a thermal management system. So this is an example of a typical thermal management system. All the key components of the electric vehicle, including the traction electric motor or the inverter or the DC-DC converter or the onboard charger or the battery pack, all these components shall be part of the thermal management system. In this, a control module like this gathers the informations like the temperature. So gathers the temperature information from all the components. You can see the temperature signal lines going to all the components. These are all the temperature sensors. So all the components, each of the component will be mounted with a temperature sensor. So like this, the control module gathers the temperature information of all these components using the sensor connected to each of them. So based on the current temperature of these components, the control module will operate the electric pumps you can see here. And these electric pumps are used to circulate the coolant across the cooling circuit depending on the demand. So basically, water mixed with ethylene glycol is used as the coolant in electric vehicle system. It is similar to the internal combustion engines as well. There are also other ways to manage the temperature of the electric vehicle components. We will discuss those in detail in the section 3 of the course. Now let's discuss few more high voltage electric vehicle components. Have a look at this. This is the air conditioning compressor operating with high voltage electric motor integrated into it. And this is a high voltage heater. Let's understand what they do. Are you aware of how an air conditioning compressor in a conventional vehicle work? Yes. In the conventional vehicle operating with an internal combustion engine, the air conditioning compressors are operated with a belt drive unit connected with the IC engine. Thus, it is a mechanically operated air conditioning compressor. But in electric vehicle, we do not have an IC engine. So the AC compressors are fitted with an independent motor which operates from the high voltage battery power input, the same input used for the propulsion of the main traction electric motor. That's the reason the air conditioning compressor also falls under the high voltage category because it uses the power supply from the high voltage battery. Then similarly, we have the heater for the purpose of heating the coolant circuit when the temperature of the coolant falls below 10 degrees Celsius in general. The performance of the components like the high voltage battery especially degrades a lot at such low temperatures when below 10 degrees Celsius. Thus, with the principle of positive temperature coefficient, the PTC heaters support the thermal management system by raising the temperatures at cold conditions. So these heaters are also powered by the high voltage battery, and because of that, these also falls under the high voltage classification. And you can clearly identify by looking at the connector color, orange color connectors. It is very clearly visible that you can clearly identify it is a high voltage component. Both these air conditioning compressor and the heater both are responsible for managing the cabin temperature. They are also responsible for the managing the cabin temperature of the passengers in addition to the temperature of the electric vehicle components. And next, we are going to get introduced to one of the most important components of the electric vehicle with respect to safety, the high voltage relays. Relays are switches that open and close circuits electromechanically or electronically. And these relays play a vital role in ensuring the safe connection and disconnection of the electric vehicle at any point of time. And these relays are used at multiple locations for multiple systems of the electric vehicle. Firstly, let's understand the main relays. These relays indicated in the green color are called as the main relays. The main relays connect the high voltage battery of the electric vehicle with the high voltage inverter. Thus, they open and close the circuit whenever required by the electronic control unit. This is how the actual high voltage relay look like. We have two main relays, one connecting the positive side of the high voltage battery with the inverter, and the other connects the negative side of the high voltage battery and the inverter. These two relays, these two green indicated positive, that means the main relays open and close the circuit between the battery and the inverter at different point of time. And a notable difference is in this circuit is that there is no ground connection from the negative terminal of the battery. That means the negative terminal of the high voltage battery to the chassis. That is the metal frame of the vehicle, like a conventional vehicle, as it is a high voltage battery. So as it is a high voltage battery, the negative terminal need not be connected to the ground, because if you have seen in conventional vehicle, generally the batteries, the low voltage batteries negative terminals are connected to the chassis. But here, since we have a high voltage battery, these high voltage batteries do not have a ground connection to the metal chassis of the vehicle. So since it is a high voltage electric vehicle battery system, it is done so. As mentioned previously, there is a smoothing capacitor used in the high voltage electric vehicle. And this smoothing capacitor is mounted between the high voltage battery and the inverter unit. The main purpose of using this smoothing capacitor is for reducing the inrush current in the system. Since the battery packs are storing energy at high voltage, right? So when the inverter operates, a huge inrush current could travel across the circuit whenever they are actually connected. So these inrush currents from the battery can damage the key circuitry components. So to reduce the inrush power flow and the stress on the inverter circuit, a smoothing capacitor is connected in between them. So for charging this smoothing capacitor, we need to have a pre-charge circuit consisting of a pre-charge relay and a pre-charge resistor. So initially, when the vehicle is turned on, firstly, this smoothing capacitor is charged with a limited current flow by closing the pre-charge relay and the negative main relay. So a pre-charge resistor in the circuit limits the flow of the current to the capacitor. Once the smoothing capacitor reaches approximately 90% of the capacity, then the high voltage battery will be connected to the inverter system by closing the positive main relay and opening the pre-charge relay. Now the positive main relay and the negative main relay are closed in this condition. Thus, the pre-charge circuit allows the current from the high voltage battery to flow in a limited controlled manner until the voltage rises to a very near to the source battery voltage before the main contactors are permitted to close. The pre-charge relay is indicated in yellow in this picture, and this is the pre-charge resistor. I hope people can understand the functions of these relays. And these are very safety critical components of the electric vehicle. And these are the actual components: the positive main relay, the negative main relay, the pre-charge relay, and the pre-charge resistor. So sometimes people call it as pre-charge contactor. We can also call it as a relay. And this is called as the battery junction block, which usually sits on the battery pack assembly. This is an example from a vehicle called Chevrolet Bolt EV. The high voltage relays, which we use in the high voltage electric vehicles, have many special characteristics. They are basically dust and waterproof structure, and these relays have to operate very fast as they are safety critical components. And they generally need to operate at around 2 milliseconds or lesser than that, and the two very silently as well. The moment the electric vehicle control unit detects a problem, right, immediately these relays are controlled to open the circuit and thereby disconnecting the high voltage battery and all the other components of the electric vehicle. High voltage cables. So electric, the another important key component of the electric vehicle are the high voltage cables. So electric vehicles use high voltage cables, which differ from a conventional cable used in the automotive industry. So the high voltage cables should have a very high load handling capability. At the same time, exceptional EMI/EMC, the electromagnetic interference and compatibility shielding quality is required. And with high flexibility, even there are multiple layers of insulation provided. So all these are very important characteristics of a good high voltage electric vehicles cable. We can see the high voltage cables cross section here. It has the copper conductor which carries the huge current and voltage of the electric vehicle components, and a braided sheath. You can see here, even in this picture, the braided sheath, and this is mainly for protecting the damage, the cable from any sort of damage from external forces, and the core insulation is also there, provided for proper insulation of the core. And they also use intersheaths in the system in these cables between the cable insulators, and to improve the voltage distribution in the dielectric of the cable and to obtain a uniform potential gradient. So that is the main purpose of using the intersheath. And these high voltage cables carry more than 60 voltage DC or 30 voltage AC with very high current values. For example, an electric passenger car operating current can range from 150 amperes to maximum up to like 500 ampere conditions, depending upon the performance characteristics of a particular vehicle. And other than these components, we also have the high voltage fuses for the electric vehicles. Is there any problem? If there is any problem or any malfunction like a short circuit condition or anything like this, these fuses, these high voltage fuses will instantly blow and thereby disconnecting the power flow of the high voltage system. Actually, these high voltage fuses disconnect the internal circuit of the battery itself. That is the very important thing we have to remember. These high voltage fuses disconnect the internal circuit of the battery itself. That means when the high voltage fuses are operated, the high voltage battery's positive and the negative terminals will no longer have any power input, power output, power supply. So these high voltage fuses have the capability to withstand up to 200% overload and operate 10 times Can you imagine 10 times faster than the conventional high speed industrial fuses? And these are very important, to protect all the key high voltage components of the electric vehicle, especially the high voltage battery pack, which is very costly or component in the electric vehicle. And imagine if someone tries to work do a service action in an electric vehicle, right? So we have a very important component called manual service disconnect. Whenever an electric vehicle is going to be serviced, or there is a person going to do some repair on the vehicle, so the service technician should first remove this manual service disconnect before performing any work in the electric or hybrid vehicle. So the high voltage which we saw earlier are generally fitted with the manual service disconnect, and these manual service disconnects are generally mounted over the high voltage battery pack. And the high voltage fuses, what we saw, basically they are placed inside this high voltage manual service disconnect. And imagine if someone tries to access the high voltage components when the electric vehicle is still turned on. Can you imagine? In this situation, will the person, will he or she get any electric shock? No. To safeguard even someone like a layman from such situations, all the high voltage components of the electric vehicle will be fitted with a high voltage interlock circuit. High voltage interlock circuit. For example, if someone tries to open an inverter cover when an electric vehicle is still in on condition. So while removing the cover, the high voltage in the interlock loop also gets disconnected. You can see this picture. So this high voltage interlock loop disconnection signals the controller, and thereby the whole high voltage system will get disconnected immediately. Thus, the electric vehicles are designed and manufactured to work more and more safer in all aspects. Thus, I hope this part has introduced you to all the key components of the electric vehicle. In the upcoming sessions of the course, we are going to discuss the important components like the motor, battery, and the charging systems quite in detail. Thank you for listening.